Hey guys, let me show you a quick little tutorial on how to use the Vanishing Point Filter to enable you to place a source image into another image on angle, so it would fit the angle of the plane that you're trying to drop into. So in this case, I want to be able to put an image inside this television screen. So it's a fairly simple process, a couple things to remember when you're doing that, but we're going to go over here to our source image that we want to place in. Click Select All, Edit, Copy, or you can do Control C or Command C. Go back over to your destination image and create a new layer. It's important that you create this new layer first, and I'll show you why in a minute. It gives you the option to manipulate the image once you've dropped it into the frame. So now you can go into the Filter, Vanishing Point, and it takes you into the Vanishing Point panel. You can zoom in a little bit here to give you a little bit of room to work, and you want to use the Plane tool. So when you click the Plane tool and you roll over your image, you can see there's my cursor is changed to this little square with the 4 little hash marks on it, and that's to guide you to where you want to place your guide points. So in this case, I want to click the upper left corner of the TV, then I've drag down to the next point, so the second point, drag to the third point, and then drag to the fourth point. Once I get to the fourth point, you'll see it changes into a red line. Let you know you've defined the parameters of that angled plane. Now I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. Alt click in the magnifying glass to zoom out a little bit and go back to my marquee tool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the image, my source image, into the screen, but I don't want to put it immediately into the screen. I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to paste it over here outside of the screen. So I'm going to use Command V, Control V to paste the image. You can see it's way too big to fit into the TV at this size, so I'm going to need to scale it. And the way you do that is you use the transform tool. Just click T on your keyboard, or you could select this transform tool from the toolbar, and you can see it's created these little handlebars, and you can just drag the image down. I'm holding the shift key down so I can keep it in proportion, but I'm going to drag it pretty small, and I'll show you why. When you drag the image and you drop it into the TV, it changes to the plane you're looking for. It changes to the perspective of that angle. Let me undo that and I'll show you why it's better to do it that way. If I were to just take the image at its original size and drag it in and drop it, it's pretty hard to work with. You can still do it, it's just you have to do a lot more manipulating. So let's undo that and drag the image down to a much smaller size, drop it in on top of the TV, and now I can just take these little handlebars, move them around to fit into the screen the way I want it, and click OK, and it drops the image into the TV. Pretty cool. A couple other things you can do at this point to make it look a little more realistic if you'd like. You can drop the opacity down a little bit, and it shows the original kind of glare and flares on the TV screen. You know, you could turn it to screen if you wanted any more dramatic thing, and you can do other filters inside this layer. If you wanted to blur it, say you didn't really want to see what was on the screen, but you wanted it to imply there was an image there, you could blur it down. You could, do other kind of distortions and things that you needed to do to make it work. You want to stylize it, sharpen it, whatever you need to do, you can do that inside there. Say I wanted to adjust the brightness and contrast of that image, I can do that here as well. So just do all the things you would kind of normally do to make it look more realistic, as if it's showing on a TV screen. So once you've done that, you're essentially finished. Merge down the layer first, and then I can save it off as a JPEG or whatever. That's it. Hope this was helpful.